We begin with breaking news off Vancouver Island, where a whale watching boat with more than 24 people on board has capsized. The entire town is out searching tonight, but officials have already confirmed there are possibly multiple fatalities. Jordan Armstrong joins us now in the newsroom with the details. Jordan, what can you tell us?
Well, Randy, and as you say, this is very much an unfolding situation. The Coast Guard and dozens of citizens, basically anyone with a boat in Tofino, is out on the water right now searching for survivors.
Deadly capsizing.
Traumatized, I think, would be an appropriate word. Disbelief.
The heroes who rushed in to help and the investigation into how this happened. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Powerful stories coming out of Tofino tonight about the capsizing of a whale watching boat, the all-out effort by the community to save those on board, and the last-minute decision that may have prevented this tragedy from being even worse. Here's what we know. It happened around 4 yesterday afternoon. The MV Leviathan II, a 65-foot cruiser vessel belonging to Jamie's Whale Watching, capsized with 27 people on board near Plover Reefs, west of Vargas Island. Members of the Ahousaht First Nation and the Coast Guard were able to rescue 21 people. 5 British nationals are confirmed dead, 4 men and 1 woman. 1 person remains missing tonight. Our Chris Galis is live in Tofino at the dock where much of the activity around the rescue operation has been taking place. Here's our coverage tonight. Chris?
Yeah, that's right, Sophie. A lot of activity here this morning. The RCMP dive team staged from here and left very early this morning looking for that 1 remaining missing passenger.
The Leviathan II went down so fast there was no time for a mayday, no time for an abandoned ship call. The only notice anyone had that there was trouble on the water, a flare fired in desperation from the life raft.
The boat out towards the open ocean, and I saw a flare, emergency flare go off in the sky. I let my partner know there's a flare going off behind us.
If not for that spotted flare, the situation on the water could have been even more dire. The fishing vessels were on scene within minutes. The Transportation Safety Board now investigating this tragedy.
TSB investigators have to examine all the information before drawing any conclusions.
This is not the first time Jamie's whaling station has had a fatal accident. In almost the same location in 1998, another boat sank. A tourist and the captain of that boat lost their lives. The TSB ruling the boat operator failed to fully appreciate the conditions at the time of the accident.
It's a totally different scenario as far as the vessels are concerned.
It's an amazing story, and Aaron MacArthur is with me right now to talk a little bit more about how the community responded, including, Aaron, some off-duty emergency workers who did their best in their own homes to help people who survived.
You know, we've heard so many great stories about people and how they reacted to this tragedy. We'll hear about the Ahousaht First Nations coming up, but for the people who were coming on the dock, for the people who needed the medical aid, off-duty paramedics, off-duty firefighters, all pitched in, all started triaging people on the dock, on the deck of the dock here.
It brought them up like that, and they fell over. They started tumbling. They said.
The capsized Leviathan II has since been moved closer to shore, but it still marks yesterday's tragedy. From here, it doesn't look like this ship could possibly be 65 feet long, but promotional photos prove otherwise.
Not unlike the people of Hartley Bay, who were the first on the scene when the Queen of the North hit Gill Island. The people of Ahousaht were first on the scene after the flare was spotted and the radio calls came out. They're only about 8 kilometers away from where the ship was rolling.
So I wrapped my sweater around him, and then Clarence wrapped his sweater on his chest, kind of like.
While en route to Tofino and the ambulance is waiting there, they snapped a couple of photos of their survivors, all so cold, so traumatized, they said almost nothing. The survivors did, however, save enough energy to point out those still in the water.
First of all, describe the situation as it unfolded for your staff on Sunday.
Well, it was quite amazing that day at our little hospital. The emergency department had been really busy that day. The nurses have been going nonstop.
Although the Transportation Safety Board's investigation is far from over, a preliminary analysis based on witness accounts suggests the Leviathan had most of its 27 passengers on the upper deck on the port side looking at a colony of sea lions when a large wave hit broadside. Those passengers would have moved the center of gravity higher, and with a swell of 3 to 4 meters, a rogue wave could and did prove fatal.
Our doctors, our nurses, our medics.
The communities of Tofino and Ahousaht, now linked by tragedy and made stronger by their common response. Aaron MacArthur, Global News.